Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well today. Thank you so much for your support. We're on our way to 2,000 subscribers. It's just awesome to see this. Please remember to continue to like and share the videos. Please remember, once you've hit the subscribe button, there's one further step. You must hit all so you're notified when our videos have been uploaded to YouTube. Thanks again. So today, February 10th, is the anniversary of Rita Marley and Bob Marley. So on February 10th, 1966, they tied the knot in Kingston at a JP's office. Well, Rita, just to refer back to her autobiography, she mentioned that not have a wedding or marriage on her mind. It just happened, right? They didn't plan it or anything like that. Not until his mom had filed for him and they realized that he'll be gone, right? So Bob wanted to make sure that, of course, she became his wife before leaving for Wilmington, Delaware, to join his mom, Mrs. Cedella Booker. So he wanted to make sure that he had secured Rita, made sure that no one else could step into the relationship, right? And he had just turned 21. So he turned 21 on February the 6th, and they got married on February the 10th. So just a few days after his birthday, his 21st birthday. Rita was 20 and he was 21. So just to give you an idea, happening at this time, 1966, and he had a few records on the radio. They did not have money at the time, even though his records were being played, right? He was now living with Rita at Rita's aunt's house. Her aunt took care of her, raised her, the one that she lived with. I believe they call her Aunt Vi, right? So they were living right across the cemetery. The wedding was kept on a Thursday, February the 10th, 1966. So it was 57 years ago that they said I do. So according to Rita's book, Rita's autobiography, marriage was never on her mind. She was not one of those little young girls that was dreaming of her wedding day or anything like that. So let's get down into the video. So let's see how the day unfolded on that Thursday. Cedella Booker was filing for him. Left the country, came to Kingston, and then she was downtown Kingston, 2 addresses before she moved to Trench Town. And she was not in a good situation. So she wanted better for herself. She, of course, connected with her relatives in America, and somehow she left the country to join them, right? And then, of course, she had major plans to file for her son so that they could be together in the U.S. So Bob told Rita that his mom said it would take about 3 months to get the papers. It took close to 3 years. So she left him at about 18, and he was filed for. After his 21st birthday, he actually got to leave Jamaica, and that was on February the 12th, 1966. It wasn't that easy to get the filing done and all of that. When she became a citizen, she's able to file for her son. So Rita Marley went on to say that marriage was never something that she thought about, as a young girl. Some people would say, I want this for my wedding or I want that for my wedding. She had never really thought about it, and they have never really discussed it. It came about because of the fact that he was leaving to the United States, of course, to join his mom. And of course, Bob knew that Rita was a young, attractive girl, and men may want to start a relationship with her, like come into their relationship. He decided to get married. That way Rita would be his wife. That way, other young men would respect the fact that they are a married couple, right? He wanted to feel more secure, right? to say that, yes, this is his wife, not just his girlfriend. So Bob Marley did not tell his mom about the marriage, not until they got married and he left for Delaware. Once he was there with his mother, then he, of course, told her that he got married to Rita. Right? He didn't tell her quite maybe a few weeks after or so of him getting to Delaware. On that Thursday, February the 10th, Rita said her wedding dress, which was what they call a three-sister dress, meaning three folds, right? A dress that had some flounces, right? And she had the cake was a 3-tier cake, and she said a 3-sister cake. So we all understand what that means, right? It's 3 levels, right? So the cake was baked by her Aunt Vi, the same auntie that, you know, raised her from a young child, right? Because her mom was not there. Mom left the dad to start another relationship, and then the dad migrated to the UK. So she was basically just raised by her auntie, a loving auntie, may I add. So her aunt made the cake, and her aunt made the food. It was curry goat and green bananas. And also Bob went to get ready. February 10th, they may have left like an hour or so before the ceremony was scheduled to begin, and they just mentioned it was at a JP's office. They didn't elaborate as to where exactly it was kept, right? Bob got ready at her Auntie Vi's home. So Bob Marley was living with Rita on Greenwich Park Road. So that section is now called Havana, and it's somewhere in the middle of Greenwich Park Road. And Rita's house was facing the cemetery wall. So I'm thinking that's close to Greenwich Park Crescent and Greenwich Park Road, because it's right in the middle there somewhere. I'm very familiar with that area, and I don't know where the exact home was located where Rita was. A matter of fact, I think we should be asking the Honorable Babsy Grange to put a plaque somewhere on the cemetery wall, you know, just to point out where Rita would have been living at the time. So she, of course, we know she visited down at the bottom Trench Town, and they were always, Bob and his friends most of the time would be down at the bottom yard or culture yard and all that. But when Bob returned from America, he lived with Rita on Greenwich Park Road. The Auntie Vi made an extra room for them, and that's where they lived. So let's get back to the wedding. So Bob got ready at Auntie Vi's house. He wore a black suit, and as you can see in the picture, he looks very sharp. So he had a black suit, white shirt, and a very fancy dress shoe, which was purchased by Sir Coxsone Dodd. He was the owner of Studio One, which was just a few steps up from where Rita was living. Greenwich Park Crescent is now Arnett Gardens. So those homes that were there, of course, the bulldozers moved in the very early 70s and toppled those homes. People had to go elsewhere, and they built, you know, modern homes, like usually 2 bedrooms. Where Rita was living now is they call that section Havana, but it is Arnett Gardens. It was done in phases, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and so on. I think there's about 5 phases, and every phase has a little nickname. So you had Mexico, you had Havana, you have original Arnett Gardens, which was the first scheme opened, and then you have Mexico and Brooklyn, right? It goes by phase, and the phase 1 and phase 2 was totally erased, and the citizens just gave the phases little nicknames, and those stuck over the years, right? So just imagine Bob Marley walking out on Greenwich Park Road, and going up to the JP's office because they both met at the JP's office to say the vows and all that, right? So yeah, so everything is now making sense as to why Greenwich Park was on the Wail N Soul record, that address, because that's where Bob was living at the time. Met at the JP's office. Both, they were both looking sharp, as you can see in the picture. So Rita was wearing, of course, that white three-sister dress with the veil. Mother of pearl tiara on her head was the borrowed item, because as you know, in weddings you have to have something borrowed and something blue. She didn't say what was the blue, but she did tell us that the borrowed item was the tiara on her head. She got ready at her uncle Cleveland's home. She didn't say where it was, if it was still in Trench Town, and she was a cousin by the name of Yvonne who helped her to get ready, right? And get her really, really sharp for the ceremony. She wore a ruffled white dress just below the knee. The length of the dress was just below the knee, because in the pictures we're just seeing half of their body. Of course, the veil was a short lace veil. It was this amazing dressmaker who sewed wedding dresses. Aunt Vi was an amazing dressmaker, and of course there's no one else who could have done that dress but Aunt Vi. Her Aunt Vi was the one who went with Bob to purchase the wedding ring, right? He practically used all his savings, his small savings that he had at that point, to purchase the ring. Of course, the pictures showed how much they were in love with each other, the smiles on their faces and all of that. No, a picture says a thousand words. You don't have to say anything, just look at the picture and you'll see how happy they were. So they did the vows, they came home, they ate their meal, right? We don't add curry goat and green bananas. I'm not sure if he was Rastafarian or anything at that time, right? Thomas Jackson 5 was having a concert at the National Stadium on February the 10th, 1966, right? So Michael would have been about 10 years or so, right? 10 years old, approximately. So they, on the microphone, they announced congratulations to Rita and Bob, who got married today. And Rita said Bob looked so surprised and wanted to know how did they find out that, they got married. So they, of course, the Wailers were on the bill, and that's why they were at the National Stadium. So they performed as well on that show with the Jackson 5. And then, of course, they went home, right? And that's how their wedding day went. So they were totally in love with each other. And 2 days later, right after the wedding, that's on February the 12th, Bob Marley left for Wilmington, Delaware. So, of course, Rita was so sad, she was trying to put her best foot forward, but she was very sad coming back from the airport and all of that. And then in 5 days, of course, she would receive a letter from her dear husband. The letter started, "My dear wife," right? And he went on to tell her that he missed her very much and that it's so cold here in America. So you would have imagined it is February, and January and February really the coldest months, right, in North America. So he went to Delaware right in the winter. So he wasn't happy being in the cold or going to America in the height of the winter season. So we know that 8 months after, Bob returned to Jamaica and right into Rita's arms again. Yes, there you have it, everyone. The wedding of Bob and Rita Marley on February the 10th, 1966, 57 years ago. Thank you for joining me on this video. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell and also hit all so that you're notified when we have uploaded a video. Take care of yourself and others. Bye for now. See you on the next video.